Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to dive into some huge technological shifts that aren't just happening on their own, they're actually starting to merge in some really powerful ways. We're using ARK Invest's 2025 Big Ideas report as our guide to map out a future that's being shaped by this incredible convergence. So to really get a handle on the scale of change we're living through right now, we've got to take a step back and look at what's been powering human progress and, economic growth throughout all of history. For most of human history, growth was just agonizingly slow. But you can see a really clear pattern here, right? A key innovation comes along and it just sparks this whole new wave of progress. Writing did it, then agriculture, then the Industrial Revolution. But look at the acceleration. The last big leap, electrification, quintupled growth to that 3% annual rate we've basically gotten used to for over 100 years. Each wave is faster and way more powerful than the one before it. And that, right there, brings us to the big question. A 125-year run, powered by the second industrial revolution, that is a long time. So where does the next engine of growth, that next big S-curve, even come from? Well, the answer, and really the foundational technology for this entire new era, is artificial intelligence. You can think of it as the new electricity that's going to power everything else. So what's at the heart of modern AI? It's these things called neural networks. They're basically computational systems that are inspired by the human brain. And their incredible power comes from their ability to just evolve and learn from data, which lets them solve problems that honestly we once thought were impossible and automate all kinds of complex knowledge work. So this means AI isn't just some clever piece of software you install. It's a dynamic system that actually improves itself over time. It's a tool that can be plugged into, literally every single part of the economy, and it fundamentally changes how businesses work and how we innovate. Now, to really wrap your head around the scale we're talking about, just think for a second about the impact electricity had. It changed every aspect of modern life, from factories to our homes. The prediction here is that AI is going to be even bigger. This is not just a small step, it is a giant leap. Okay, so let's see how this new electricity is starting to power a revolution in the real physical world, from how we make things all the way to how we explore the final frontier. To really appreciate the challenge, just look at a job that sounds super simple, a professional dishwasher. But it's not one task, it's like a dozen different things. You're washing, you're storing, you're sorting trash, you're scrubbing floors, you're stocking supplies. It requires this constant adaptability and generalization, which is exactly what has made automation so tricky for so long. But this is where the breakthrough is finally happening. Instead of building one specialized robot for every single little task, we're now seeing the rise of general-purpose humanoid robots. These are the machines that can finally handle that kind of messy, real-world complexity. And that is an absolute game-changer for businesses of all sizes, especially the smaller ones. And, this pattern of disruption, it's not new. Back in 2014, the head of a major rocket launch company just completely dismissed the whole idea of reusable rockets. Incumbents, they often have this massive blind spot for the very technologies that are about to upend their entire industry. And, just a decade later, the result couldn't be clearer. That disruptive idea, reusability, it completely dominates the market now. SpaceX isn't just a leader. They're launching more mass into space than pretty much all other providers combined. Automation and these new approaches completely remade an entire industry. Okay, so this same pattern is also unfolding in another really profound revolution. This time, it's not in silicon or steel, but in the actual code of life itself, biology. The pace of change here is just staggering. Back in 2001, the computational analysis of a human genome took about half a year. Today, it takes less than 10 minutes. This insane acceleration in our ability to read biological data is unlocking a world of new possibilities. So why does this matter? Well, look at the potential impact on something like cancer. With new liquid biopsy technology, which is basically a single blood test that can screen for a bunch of different cancers at once, we can go way beyond traditional screening. This universal approach could save nearly 4 times as many lives. It's incredible. But here's the thing. These new biological tools are creating a data tsunami. Just advanced cancer monitoring alone could produce 700 times more data than the largest genomics project in the world has to date. How can we possibly make sense of all of that? And this is where everything comes together. AI, robotics, biology. They're not just running on parallel tracks anymore. They are starting to converge, feeding into and amplifying each other in this amazing, virtuous cycle. And the perfect embodiment of this whole idea is the self-driving lab. This isn't some far-off future concept. It's happening right now. It's a system where AI models analyze the biological data, robotic automation runs the experiments, and then the biological tools generate new data for the AI to learn from. The key thing to get here is the autonomous loop. The AI doesn't just analyze data, it forms its own hypotheses. Then, robots run the actual physical experiments to test those ideas, and the results immediately feed right back into the system, making it smarter. Science starts to operate on a completely different, much faster timeline. And the impact of this is just enormous. In drug discovery, for example, this convergence can slash years and hundreds of millions of dollars from the process. It helps researchers get across what's often called the valley of death, where so many promising ideas end up failing just because of time and cost. So this leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about. For decades, we've watched innovation in the digital world happen at this blistering pace. So what happens when that same speed, the speed of software, can be applied to discovering new drugs, new materials, and new solutions in the physical and biological worlds? Well, that's the future this great convergence is creating.